When I was 11 years old, my parents divorced. My father cheated a lot and my mother forgave him every time because she wanted to keep the family together. When I was 11, my father cheated again and ran off with this woman. What followed was a huge divorce with a lot of fighting and arguing. The only thing my father didn't want was us as children. It was decided that I had to go to my father at the weekends. Because where I live, divorces go through the courts, and they think it is important that children continue to see both their parents. During these weekends, I was used more as a kind of Cinderella by my father and his girlfriend, and I was systematically abused mentally and physically. Every time I made a mistake in their eyes, didn't do something the way they wanted, didn't get things done on time because I had a lot to do, I was beaten with objects or just by hand. My father's favorite thing was his belt, and my stepmother liked to use an electric fly swatter, which gives off electric shocks when you turn it on so that you can kill the fly without crushing it, so to speak. If you hold it against your skin with the metal part, you will get a pretty hard electric shock. To this day, I am terrified of electric fly swatters, even though where I live they are very common household things. I managed to hide the abuse for years by wearing baggy clothes with long sleeves, whether it was summer or winter. Because of this, I quickly became the weird kid at school and had no friends. The abuse had enormous mental consequences, but I wanted to persevere because I was afraid that if I stopped coming on weekends, my father's girlfriend would work out her anger on my little sister. She was only 5 when my parents broke up. I withdrew more and more to my room when I was with my mother so that I didn't have to talk to her. My mother is a sweetheart. She is really sweet and friendly and only wanted the best for me. She thought I was having trouble with the divorce and that I was starting to go through puberty. She regularly suggested that I go to a therapist, but I always didn't want to because I wanted to protect my sister. When I was 16, my gym teacher found out about the bruises because I suffered an injury during sports class, and she had to look at my legs. As a result, child protection was immediately called to see that I was covered in bruises. My mother was so shocked that she kept me and my sister at home from that moment on. The judge decided that the contact arrangements were terminated and that we as children no longer had to visit my father. My father has always blamed me for the fact that he no longer sees his children. He called me a bad daughter, and I should never have told anyone what happened in our home. He felt that it was no one's business, and that it was bad parenting. That it would make me hard and grow up to be a strong woman who could serve her husband in this way. That if I behaved better and did what I was told, I wouldn't have to be beaten. 10 years have passed since then. Because of what happened, and we lived in a small village, everyone knows what happened and he and what his now wife did to me. I moved far away from them and cut off all contact with him. I went to therapy to learn to deal with everything. I have a very sweet partner who supports me and also helps me to overcome my fears that I developed because of my father. I regularly have panic attacks at home and am afraid of being home alone. We bought a video doorbell so I can see who is at the door without having to go to the door because I'm afraid he will find out my address and come to see me. He has already tried to find out my address a few times through my sister, since she has been in contact with him again for a few years. Her reasoning was that they have not done anything to her, and they are always kind to her, so she sees no reason not to visit regularly. Recently I received a letter from my father through my sister in which he demanded that I apologize for my behavior, and that because of me the entire village thinks he is a disgrace. In the letter he said that he is getting older, and his hearing and vision are getting worse. He demands that I apologize to him, and that I introduce him to my partner, who really doesn't want that because he knows my entire history. He thinks he has been a good father, and that being raised by my mother has made me soft, and that I am a bad woman now that I am pursuing a career outside the home in biology. My sister tells me that I should just say sorry and that he will really leave me alone afterwards. He really just wants to hear that he was a good father, and that I regret talking to people 10 years ago when they saw my bruises. I really don't want to, but my sister and father's family keep pestering me to say that I should just do it so that he can close it off and the village will no longer find him a shame. I really don't want to, and I haven't slept at night because of it. I don't know what to do anymore, and my partner tries to keep me calm so I don't have to think about it anymore because it gives me panic attacks. But my father and his family keeps insisting and nagging me to do it by sending me messages on social media and calling or WhatsApp me. I keep blocking them, but they create new throwaway accounts to reach me or give letters and messages to my sister so she can give them to me. I didn't tell my mother about this because she already feels very guilty that she didn't notice the abuse at all those years ago. So, what do you think? Should I just apologize to get it over with? Update 2 weeks later. So I met up with my sister and told her everything. About how my father and his now wife beat me, about how I protected her and the mental and physical damage that the behavior of my father and his wife caused me. She mainly cried a lot. There is a lot of pressure from his family to get back in touch with me as I am getting better at my job and am starting to have a prominent role in it. Something that his family would like to show off is that I am successful and well known in my profession. She just didn't know what to do, and that's why she reacted very aggressively and painfully. We talked this out and hugged it out. She also told that my father's wife often goes through her phone. That's how she found my phone number. He helps her unlock the phone. My sister has changed her unlock codes several times, but he keeps copying them from her. We have agreed to buy a second phone where she can keep all her important things and save all her important contacts. So she only has to show the old phone to my father to play games on it. She will keep the new one a secret. She really doesn't want to go to my father anymore, but there is a lot of pressure on her from the family to go. She is the last child of my father who still has contact with him. We have also discussed this with our mother, and we are going to make a plan with our lawyers so that they cannot bother her if she stops going. I have ignored my father and his family as much as possible. I have threatened that if they don't leave me alone, I will send the police on them for stalking. So far it's been quiet, and I haven't heard from anyone else. I hope it stays calm and that my sister can now also relax. Thank you all for your support. Story 2. I put vegetables in all my food so my roommate's kid won't eat them. The mom is fuming. I, 26 female, live in a rented house with a single mother, 30, and her son, 6. I had another person living with me, but they moved out and the mother moved in. I don't mind living with her and her kid. It's fine and we kind of do our own thing. I spend a lot of time at my boyfriend's place or working. Our work schedules collide, so we really don't interact much, but when we do it's fine. No issue there. I want to start with saying that she clearly struggles financially, but I don't think it's an excuse. I don't make lots of money either. However, I've noticed that my food would go missing or portions would be taken from it. I assumed it was her kid, so I asked her if she'd stop him from eating my food. I was calm about it, and she just said she would. It didn't really upset me when it first started. It started getting annoying when I'd get home from work and expect to have a meal's worth of leftovers in the fridge only to see it picked through or just gone. I kept bringing it up, and she started getting annoyed with me bringing it up. Just from observing them, I realized that neither of them ever eat vegetables. And judging by the food that would get picked through and the food that would be untouched, anything with green in it was avoided. Orange chicken would be gone, but chicken and broccoli would be untouched. So I started putting vegetables in everything. I find vegetables to be delicious. And anything green or not a potato does not get eaten. So I could mix some bell peppers into the food and it would be fine. I make a big portion of vegetables pretty frequently anyway, so I just started putting it in everything I eat. If I had leftover mashed potatoes, I'd pour green beans in and mix it up. If I had leftover cheesy/bacon fries, I'd pour broccoli all over it and mix it in. Usually my homemade stuff has vegetables in it, but I started making sure everything did. I made a pot of mac and cheese, the kids' favorite thing, and poured in roasted Brussels sprouts. Which is actually delicious to me, and I'm eating more vegetables, so it's a win-win. She had been seeming annoyed, but we were all home when I made the pot of mac and cheese. She was in the living room and saw me get out the Brussels sprouts and was like, "What are you going to do with that?" And I poured them in. She said I was being greedy and annoying. I just said, "I like Brussels sprouts." And that was it. She said, "We need food." And I told her to go get some. Or stop buying only prepackaged things and your money will go further. I think she sees this as some big act of revenge, but I just simply want to be able to eat my food. Also want to add that the sharing is not the issue. It's expecting to have food there and it's not. So often I'd be working a long day and get home expecting to have a meal's worth of food and it all be gone. Or I wake up in a rush and had my food ready to eat in the morning only to find it gone. So now I have to skip breakfast. If she would simply text sometimes, "Hey, is it okay if we eat food item?" I would know and know to make other plans. I would stop for food or know I have to whip something up when I get home. Also, I think eating the last of someone else's food is crazy and rude. If someone makes a big pot of something and you ask for a serving, sure. But if someone made something and there is one serving left, and you eat it without permission, that is evil as hell.